Hi, beautiful people. So I got myself a clay pot and I made some granite soup out of it. My name is Siandoki. Thank you so much for clicking in. Now, in another video, I'll be sharing with you how I seasoned this clay pot before using it. Okay, for my meat, I have some onions, garlic, ginger, scotch bonnet pepper. I'm putting it in my grinder. Okay, so because of that, I grated the garlic and the ginger so that it's easy for me to crush. Now I've added all these local spices and some dried mixed herbs, some salt, and this coriander, cumin, fennel seeds powder. I have the recipe of all these homemade local spices on my channel. I'll leave the link so that you watch it out, you check it out. Okay, so I also added some chicken seasoning, and then I crush this, like I blended this away without any water. That's how come I'm using this blender without any water. But I mean, if you don't have something like this, feel free to add a little water just to move the blades of your blender. Now that is done, I'm just mixing everything together, just yeah, on my chicken. Now I have a bed of veggies here, which is some onions, scotch bonnet pepper, and carrots, and I am going to line my chicken on them. At this point, I'll humbly remind you to give this video a thumbs up. It's a way of supporting the channel. Thank you so very much. So after I put everything in there, I felt it was too much for the dish. So I took my other dish, also lined it up with some onions, and then I took part of the chicken of it. I'm adding some tomatoes to this as well. Now, also had some red bell peppers and I added that. I'll be using some plantain leaves. I got these plantain leaves from my backyard. I'm adding that. You can use banana leaves as well. Okay, so I'm covering this meat with the plantain leaves. This is going to give that intense flavor from the plantain. Ideally, if you have some aluminum foil, you can actually cover this with it as well. Okay, after you're done with the plantain, just cover it with aluminum foil, but I don't have. Okay, and then if you don't have plantain leaves, so you can just do the aluminum foil. That works as well. So this goes into my oven. So this is going to sort of steam the meat that we need for the soup. Now we come to my granuts. You know, I've shared a recipe of how I made my granuts at home, and this one was almost done, and that is what I usually use for my soya spice. So check on that. Okay, now after the oil had drained from it and everything, I use that for my soya spice. Now for it to be easy to blend, I put some water in my blender, added a peanut butter, and blended that way. It's nice and smooth. I'm going to pour it in my saucepan and I am going to stir this continuously. Of course, after I finish washing my blender with some water, just to make sure that I'm making the most of this peanut butter. So I'm going to give this a nice stir until it is thick and it starts to splatter. Once it begins to splatter, I'll cover it so that the oil can come on top. Now I'm checking on my chicken and from the bottom is looking good. So at this point, I'm going to take out the plantain leaves, okay, and then use the grill. The idea is that I want the tomatoes and the other veggies to char a bit. So that is it. So I'm using the grill this time. I check on my peanut butter. You have this oil forming nicely on top of it, giving you that indication that yeah, it is good, it is ready to go. Now I introduce to you my traditional pot that I picked. I'll tell you more about it when I share how I seasoned it. Okay, and now the chicken is done nicely. You see the veggies, you see the way it has those black things on it. That's how I want it. So I'm taking the veggies out into the blender, okay, and then I put the chicken in my pot. So basically that is it. So after I was done with the first one, this is the second one. Second one had more of the tomatoes. I took that out as well, and then the chicken goes into the pot. I blend the all the ingredients that were on it. I'm going to blend them together with the stock. Okay, so now let's go out to my um my backyard side, okay, close to the backyard, and I have my coal pot here lighted up nicely. I put my, is this chicken not looking good, beautiful people? I put it on the fire, and then after I'm done blending all the ingredients, I just add it back into the chicken, into this pot. This is even going to enhance the flavor even more. Okay, so I give it a nice stir, and then, guys, is this not good? And then I'll just cover it, okay, so that the flavors sort of have a nice time together. So after some time, after it starts boiling, I just pour in my peanuts butter, the cooked down peanut butter. And after this point, I'm just rinsing out my blender. The first time that I blended the veggies, I didn't rinse it out. So I added the rinsed out blender and the peanuts butter, the saucepan that I cooked with it. I also rinsed it out and added it to the soup. I'm going to give this a nice stir. Yeah, at this point the soup was boiling over. I was in the I was in the kitchen preparing for my rice balls, and I spied from my window it was boiling. They were almost going to boil into the fire, so I just came, scoop some out. Okay, so as it is boiling down, I'll just be adding the rest. And this, what everything here is cooked. Our chicken, the veggies, everything is cooked. Plus the peanut butter is also cooked. So we just need this to cook down. Okay, like, yeah. And this thing was really deceiving. We'll come to that. Okay, now my backyard still has my sweet potato leaves, so why not? Like, I just saw it, I'm like, I'm going to add some of these sweet potato leaves to this soup, and it was so nice. So yeah, this pot, this was my first time using it, and it was this, I don't know whether to use the word deception, because this was cooked. Okay, for you to know that your peanut butter soup is cooked, you should see the oil on top, and oil wasn't forming on top. Apparently the froth was covering the oil, so I did like, oh, I would have waited forever because this froth was covering the oil. So this soup was done long, long ago, and I was just waiting for this oil. Can you imagine? Anyway, lesson learned. So if you are using a clay pot like this, you want to make sure that you check it out. And see, I brought this to my dining table. It is still boiling even after I took it off the fire. This is lying on my dining table and it is still boiling. How amazing is this? Like, it's able to keep food warm for a long time. I have different videos in this spot. I can't wait to share with you. Okay, so this has been sitting down for a while. I just want it to stop boiling and settle down, and this is what we have. I totally enjoyed cooking in this clay pot, cooking the clay pot for the very first time. It was such a beautiful experience. It has some intense, like some taste it gives the soup, that I would really recommend that you give this a try. Like, if you can, honestly. If not, you can do this in your regular pots, but use the process that I shared, and you would absolutely love this. Thank you so much for watching. Please support me by subscribing to the channel, and I'll see you again in another video. Bye.